3 papers were accepted to be presented in the conference. Each paper was reviewed by at least 2 reviewers. We wish to express our sincere appreciation to all individuals and organizations who have contributed to this conference. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to our colleagues in editorial team for their thorough review of all the submissions, which is vital to the success of the conference, and also to the members in the organizing committee and volunteers who had dedicated their time and efforts in planning, promoting, organizing, and helping the conference. Our special thanks also go to all the authors for contributing their latest research to the conference. This conference program is highlighted by 4 invited keynote speakers. Prof. Taufik from Electrical Engineering Department, Cal Poly State University, United States of America. Prof. Seong-Cheol Kim from Department of Nano, Medical and Polymer Materials, Yongnam University, South Korea. Dr. Juanita MT from Civil Engineering, Universitas Muhammadiyah Purwokerto, Indonesia. And Associate Prof. TS Dr. Siti Nurul Mahfuzah Muhammad from Faculty of Information and Communication Technology, University Technical Malaysia, Melaka, Malaysia. We strongly believe that the conference will provide you a memorable experience, and we do wish all of you have a good time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The next agenda, opening remarks from Rector of Universitas Muhammadiyah Purwokerto, Mr. Dr. Nurse Jebul Suroso, SKP MKEP, who will be represented by Vice Rector of Universitas Muhammadiyah Purwokerto, Mr. Insinyur Aman Suyadi MP. Time is yours.
Honorable Professor Taufik from California Polytechnic State University, Honorable Professor Seong-Cheol Kim, PhD from Yongnam University, Korea, Honorable Dr. Siti Nurul Mahfuzah Muhammad from University Technical Malaysia, Malacca, Honorable Dr. Juanita MT from our Universitas Muhammadiyah Purwokerto, Honorable Dean and all lecturers of Engineering and Science Faculty, Honorable Committee, presenters, and participants of the 3rd International Conference on Engineering and Applied Science, or INCAS 2021, and Seminar Nasional Teknik 2021. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It is a great honor for me to be here today to welcome you to this, the 3rd International Conference on Engineering and Applied Science, or INCAS 2021, and Seminar Nasional Teknik 2021 with the core theme Smart Advancement on Engineering and Applied Science. This conference is organized by Faculty of Engineering and Science, Universitas Muhammadiyah Purwokerto. In this occasion, I would like to congratulate and thank the committee and all the supporting factors who make this conference happen amid pandemic situation. In this kind of challenging situation, technology becomes the highest need for everybody, institution, and even government. All aspects of life is now supported by technology. We know it will how things still run well in this time because of technology. Even now, this conference happened without any limitation of distance. As the educators, academic institution, and researcher, we are supposed to stay access to develop technology that make maximum impact on education and society. This international conference on advancement of engineering and applied science aims to encourage and provide opportunities to researchers and academicians to exchange view and opinion on developing smart advancement of engineering and applied science. I am optimistic this conference provides a fantastic opportunity for educators, learners, and anyone who care to share their experiences. Speakers from many countries are here to share their vision without leaving their walls. From United States, from Malaysia, from Korea, and from some institution in Indonesia. This conference proves us that distance is no matter. Thus, I believe that discussion will vision the next possibilities to advancement, advanced applied science and engineering that will be beneficial for life in this era. I hope it becomes a livable, sustainable, and smart action that is successfully achieved. This can be done if we keep on sharing and working together. I see that this conference obligates us to understand more closely many challenges in developing science technology for the future. I believe this discussion will show fruitful and some ideas will be published at a reputable journal read by academicians all around the world. At this moment, I also would like to express my sincere gratitude to committee and everyone whose dedication and effort have made this sustainable international conference happen. I do appreciate your spirit persistently running this conference. In closing, I would like to say that I'm confident that following international conference will be able to be done by Faculty of Engineering and Science. Last but not least, I wish you all good health, happiness, and success. Thank you very much for your participation. Enjoy the fruitful conference. By saying, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I officially open this third International Conference on Engineering and Applied Science or in CHAOS 2021 and Seminar Nasional Teknik 2021. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The last agenda is closing. Ladies and gentlemen, let's close this opening ceremony by saying Hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Plenary session. Entering the main agenda of the Third International Conference on Engineering and Applied Science 2021 and Seminar Nasional Teknik 2021. The first keynote speaker is Professor Taufik, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, United States. The first session will be guided by the first moderator, Mrs. Associate Professor Hindayati Mustafidah, SSI MCom. Here will we read the CV of the first moderator. Name: Associate Professor Hindayati Mustafidah, SSI MCom. Age: 51 years old. Gender: female. Address: Pondok Pesantren 34 Street, Dampit, RT 6 RW 7, Duku Waluh, Kembaran, Banyumas, Central Java, Indonesia. Marital status: married. Religion: Islam. Nationality: Indonesian. Email: hmustafidah@ump.ac.id. Job experiences: Research and Development Center, Puslitbang, KIM LIPI, Serpong, Tangerang, Indonesia. Lecturer, Institut Teknologi Indonesia, Serpong, Tangerang, Indonesia. Lecturer and Researcher, Universitas Muhammadiyah Purwokerto, Indonesia. Academic qualifications: SSI from Computer Science, Universitas Gadjah Mada, Yogyakarta. MCom from Computer Science, Universitas Gadjah Mada, Yogyakarta. Currently pursuing a doctoral program in Computer Science, Universitas Gadjah Mada, Yogyakarta. Professional qualifications: Reviewer in many Indonesia accredited journals. Reviewer in many international journals and international conference. Chief Editor in Indonesia accredited journals. Central Administrator at the Professional Organization Indonesian Computer Electronics and Instrumentation Support Society. Central Administrator at Asosiasi Program Studi Informatika Perguruan Tinggi Muhammadiyah Aisyah, Indonesia. Member of Aptikom IEEE, IAENG, AMCA, Association of Muslim Community in ASEAN. Has a number of publications in national and international journals, national and international proceedings, intellectual property rights, and authored several books. For the first moderator, the time is yours.
Yes. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hindayati Mustafidah, and I am honored to be your moderator on plenary session 1 today. Before the plenary session begins, allow me to greet our two keynote speakers this morning. Assalamualaikum. How are you today, Prof. Taufik and Dr. Mahfuzah? I hope you are always in the protection and guidance of Allah. Amin.
Thank you.
Okay. In the plenary session, I will be a moderator for two keynote speakers, namely Prof. Taufik from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, United States, who will present his paper in the field of electrical engineering, and TS Dr. Siti Nurul Mahfuzah Muhammad with the topic in the field of IT in education. For the two speakers, we gave each of them approximately 30 minutes, then followed by a question and answer session for approximately 10 minutes. Participants who want to ask questions can be submitted verbally by first raising their hand through the Zoom facility. Before delivering the material from the speaker, I will read a brief biography of Professor Taufik. Taufik received his BS in electrical engineering with minor in computer science from Northern Arizona University, MS in electrical engineering from University of Illinois Chicago, and Doctor of Engineering from Cleveland State University. He joined Cal Poly State University in 1999, where he is currently a full professor in electrical engineering and the director of Electric Power Institute. He received numerous teaching awards, most notably the 2012 Outstanding Teaching Award from the American Society of Engineering Education. He is a senior member of IEEE and currently the chair of Power and Energy Society section of California. Taufik has industry experiences with engineering companies including Capstone Microturbine, Rockwell Automation, San Diego Gas and Electric, Dietis Incorporated, and Sempra Energy. His areas of research include power, electronics, power systems, rural electrification, energy harvesting, renewable energy, and smart grid. He holds 2 U.S. patents, with another one pending, and has published over 200 technical papers and journals, reports, and books. Okay, it's time for you to Prof. Taufik. Please, Mr. Taufik.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Appreciate the very nice introduction. First of all, I would like to say that it's an honor to be here. You know, it's always a pleasure to be able to share a bit of my research activities while I'm at Cal Poly. I've been there for 22 years almost, and so yeah, it's always an honor and a great pleasure to be able to do so. Also, I would like to apologize first of all because I'm actually traveling. I'm actually in my car at this point, and so the lighting is probably not very optimum, as you can see, but I'll try my best. And hopefully you can still see me clearly as well as hear my voice clearly. In terms of the presentation that I'm planning to do today, I chose the topic that has been my passion since for a while now, which is related to rural electrification. And since 2012, I started this research on what I call the DC House project, and I've been actually going around and promoting this research topic, which is by itself is kind of a new forefront in the area of electricity. So hopefully I'll get a chance to give a brief overview of the project as well as the status of the project as of today. So without further ado, would I be able to share? Yes? Can I share?
Yes, please.
Okay, it says disabled. Let's see. Looks like I'm not able to share. Yeah, I'm still not able to share.
Oh.
Yeah, if the host would allow me to share.
Halo, Ibu.
No. Or if not, if you have my file, you can always maybe show my file. I think I emailed my PDF before. Either way is fine with me, but at this point I could not share, unfortunately.
Okay, maybe the host can help to share screen of Prof. Taufik. Please, host.
Yeah, says host. Yeah, still not.
Oh.
Okay, looks like, let's see. Yes, now I could. Okay, thank you. Let me try again. Can you all see? Yes, can somebody verify? Yes, can you see?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can
Okay,
see.
very good. Thank you. Okay, awesome. Thank you. So I'm just going to start because I only have maybe 25 more minutes to do this. So briefly, again, this has been my passion for a long time. Trying to help come up with a different way of providing access to electricity to mainly rural areas. Right? Or in Indonesia, we call it listrik pedesaan, right? So DCL system for future homes and off-grid electrical system. My name, teaching at Cal Poly for the past 22 years. Just a little bit about the school, just in case you are not familiar with Cal Poly. It used to be a polytechnic school, but then 1972 it changed its status to a university. And these days, there is no more polytechnic college in the U.S. Every single one has been converted to a university. That's why the name is California Polytechnic State University. So it is a university since 1972. And then student population is about 22,000. And our campus is actually the second largest in California, after Berkeley. Big in terms of area, in terms of land area, it is the second biggest. So we have about 22,000 students, and we have several colleges ranging from agriculture, architecture, engineering, liberal arts, business, science, and math. And you can see the largest, what do you call it? College being the engineering college. Okay, and then in terms of the location, if this is the U.S. and our school is located on the West Coast, which is right there, that's the state of California. And if I zoom into California, then we are located right or very close to the beach, right there. The name of the city is San Luis Obispo. Yeah, it's a long name, but it is right there, San Luis Obispo. If I zoom in more, this area is called Central Coast. It's located in between two industrial areas, Silicon Valley and Los Angeles area. So we are situated in a very strategic place in California, and so therefore we have very strong connection to industries, mainly to companies in Silicon Valley. And here's a picture of the campus. Hopefully someday you get to visit us after this pandemic is over. It's a small town. It's a small college town. Beautiful, landscape and just scenic areas, and surrounded by mountains and close to the beach. Very nice weather. I think you like it. So hopefully, inshallah, someday you'll get to visit me. In the past, I've had visitors from Indonesia, mostly lecturers from different universities, PhD students from Indonesia visiting Cal Poly for doing a short-term research. These are just some examples of some people who have visited Cal Poly recently. The most recent one being Dr. Oni from Brawijaya, as well as Alfredo from what's the name of the university? Jember, University Jember. Okay. And just briefly, in terms of the ranking in the US itself, this is not really known outside of the US, but within the US, we have our own ranking, university ranking. And for out of 1,829 universities, 1,829 universities, Cal Poly ranked number 9, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 8, sorry, in the nation for engineering. So just a brief intro to the school itself. And then in terms of the outline of my presentation today, I'll start with why DC, and then what is DC House project, components of the DC House, recent status, and then I'll go over some examples on how to apply off-grid electrical systems and future houses, and then close it with a summary. All right, so why DC? If this was an in-person presentation, I would actually ask the audience, how many of you had a cell phone in the year 2000, for example? I'm pretty sure no one will raise their hand, right? But if I ask, okay, how many of you have cell phones nowadays or today, then and what is the importance of that question? The importance is that cell phone by itself, right, is or makes up what we call residential load, right? Because when you need to charge cell phones, what do? You plug it into a wall plug, right, at your home, and that means that cell phone, every single one that you have, represents a electrical load to our house, and what's also more important is that the number of smartphones, right? Not just cell phones, but specifically smartphones, globally, as you can see, increases significantly, right? So year after year, you can see that the number of cell phones rises to a big number. 2021, for example, it was projected to be 2 billion cell phones around the globe, right? And then another thing is that same thing with LED lights. If I ask you, okay, how many of you have LED light bulbs in 2010? Most likely none, right? But then today, almost every house would have an LED, right? It would be a disadvantage if you don't use LED because it is a big energy-saving type of lightings, right? So it would be our own good to have LED lightings. And the number of LED lights is also growing fast, right? And why is that important to bring up? Well, because LED by themselves, again, represent a house load, right? An electrical load in our house. And internally, before I go there, and so that is another significance of LEDs, that the number is growing, and so many LEDs are around being used nowadays, right? Same thing with tablets and laptops and so on and so forth. But I think just looking at these two examples should be enough for us to see the kind of trend. And why am I bringing up these two examples? Because both smartphones and LED lights turn on the AC. I don't know AC. Yes, you plug it into the wall with an AC, but internally they're powered by DC. So anyhow, if you look at the numbers for smartphone, 2 billions, right? If you do like a quick math, 2 times 2 billion, and let's say every single cell phone requires 5 volts, right, USB, and then drawing 1 amp, kind of quite conservative, 1 amp, and these days going to be more than 1 amp. And then let's say you charge it for 1 hour per day, 1 hour, let's just say, right? And then times 2 billions. And if you carry out the calculation, you end up with a big number. So one smartphone may not mean anything, right? But then if you multiply that by 2 billions, that corresponds to a big, very big load, right? 10 gigawatt hours of load, right, around the world. Okay, so as you can see, numbers matter, right? Okay, so that's the reason why DC has become quite important, because the number of residential loads that are in DC are quite increasing in number. And then another reason why DC is that we have this new technology called USB-C. You are probably familiar with USB-C by now. And the one interesting thing about USB is that this is a type of connection where the target power is 100 watts. Right? There's so many interesting features of USB-C, but one of them that would be my own interest would be the power level. You can see the target level is 100 watts. I mean, imagine if a USB can handle 100 watts. That's going to be a lot of power, right? And that means USB could power so many house residential loads in the future, right? So imagine that. That's the reason why I think DC will be making its comeback. And then I've done this quick research on the mixture of AC and DC loads in the house in the year 2000 in the US. On average, the number of DC loads is about 20% of the total residential load in the US. Right? But then in 2018, the number grew to about 30%. So that's a 10% increase. And my guess would be that in developing countries, this percentage of the DC load is actually bigger. Countries like Indonesia, for example, this would be a bigger mixture. The reason why in the US the AC load is bigger in percentage because we use big loads such as big washing machines, big dryers, big refrigerator, air conditioning, heater, and so on and so forth. Right. So again, this shows that DC has become more important. And then another reason why DC, because every single one of the DC load that you plug it into the wall, right? If internally it is running DC, that means you have to convert from AC to DC. Right. So you have to convert from AC to DC. That means there's going to be some conversion loss. Right? In fact, based on one paper, or based on Antifouling, I should say, the loss is between 17 to 35%. So that's quite a significant loss. Right? So that's something we need to fix. And you might think that 17 to 35% loss is not a big deal, but it is. It is a big deal. For example, these two numbers that I provided, just rough calculations. If let's say that you are charging your smartphone or portable electronics, right, from the AC wall plug, and in the process you lost 5%, let's just say, right, that's pretty good number, right, pretty good loss, 5%. And then a tablet consumes about 12 kilowatt hours per year, and there will be 760 million tablets per 2016. If you run the number, 5% loss, that would represent 480 gigawatt hour per year. That's a lot of zeros, isn't it? Right. So 5%, if it's coming from one tablet, is not that big of a deal. But if you multiply by 760 million around the world, that represents 480 gigawatt hour per year. If I run the same number for a smartphone, then that would represent the same 5%, represents 599 gigawatt hour per year. So a total of the two is actually enough. This loss from the two only, from the two devices, is enough to actually cover or equivalent to 12 units of 10 megawatt power plants. And you imagine that 12 units of 10 megawatt power plants running 24 by 7 for the entire year. So that's no longer something that we can ignore. This is a big loss. Right? Imagine if you can get rid of this loss, then that means we can prevent building such expensive power plants. Right? And another major reason why is because of the increase in renewable energy, mainly solar panels. Right? More and more people are using solar panels, especially on the roof on the roof. We call it rooftop solar panels. So our solar panels by themselves are running DC. Right? So if you have a solar panel as the source, right, and then the loads are DC, right? So you have a source that is DC, the loads that's DC, then it would make sense to me to have a DC converter instead of going from DC, from solar panel, convert it to AC, and then from AC convert it to DC again, and then from DC convert it to another level of DC. So rather than going through 3 stages, you can now use only one stage if you use DC straight from the source. Right? This is our current system. As you can see, the first stage you have 23 to 28% loss. The second stage 17 to 35% loss. So that's a big loss by themselves if we stick with our current system. Right? And more reasons why DC, because I want it to help, I want to contribute to so many people that are still, they still have no access to electricity, mainly our brothers and sisters living in rural areas, right? And this is a picture of Indonesia, for example. You can see Java is pretty lit up, but the rest of the islands in Indonesia are still dark. So that shows me, right, that there's still a lot of brothers and sisters in Indonesia who still have no electricity. So we should do something about this, right? And then by finding a solution through DC, I'm hoping to be able to improve rural electrifications. Because I grew up actually without having electricity, and I realized how difficult life was without electricity. So even if I can have, if I can put one smile on many of these, kids in remote islands or some rural areas in Indonesia, that would fulfill my dream as an electrical engineer. So so that's the motivation for me. Okay? As I said, DC House started in 2010. And the initial goal is to develop alternative solutions to existing electrification using DC electricity with DC loads. And the objective is to have a seamless integration of one or more small-scale renewable energy sources. So the keywords there is small scale. So this is unlike conventional solutions where you use big scale. I'm more interested in smaller and also distributed energy sources. So expanding previous ideas with more comprehensive approach that are scalable, reliable, flexible, expandable, and affordable. And I've been trying to develop a bottom-up approach to rural electrifications, right? By having it at a small scale, so it could be affordable, or residential scale as well, and you can also expand it to a bigger scale with a network of DC houses. And so why alternate solution? Because one size doesn't fit all, right? Conventional solution, hydro, I'm not against those, but those are actually very good technology to use. But unfortunately, not every area would fit, right? To be using micro hydro. So some areas don't have that much water flowing, for example, or some areas don't have that much wind, flowing, for example. So what do we do? So what about if you use smaller scale, right, instead of big scale, right? So that's why I think having the approach of different scaling, different sizing would be a good approach to help rural electrifications. Here's the diagram of the DC House project, the basic block diagram. So you have small scale, right? Smaller scale, these are not large scale. Okay? These are small scale, meaning you can have even tens of watts, right? It doesn't have to be kilowatts, it could be tens of watts, enough to combine with other small scale, from hydro, small scale wind, small scale PV, to even human power. Right? And then you combine the energy with this technology called MISO, multiple input, single output, and then combine the energy and then feed into a bus to power our DC house. So you can see that's a DC bus right there. So it's basically divided into 3 different areas, right? These basic diagrams: generation side, interface and bus side, and load side, right? And if you're interested in developing this technology, you can do any one of these three aspects, right? Any one of these three aspects is quite challenging, and I can go over a little bit on any those aspects. Here's on the generation part of the system that I've developed at Cal Poly. Remember, these are all small scale. So the key here is how can we have a new way of generating power from a small water stream, for example, or from areas that have minimum amount of wind, right? Things like that. So here's an idea that I had some time ago where instead of using micro hydro, imagine I have a portable, portable nano hydro, where you can put it in a pocket, and then if you have a stream of water, just dip it in the water, and it'll turn, and it'll give you about 25 watts, for example, right? And that was the idea that I had some time ago. I tried, but I failed, unfortunately. And then somebody in Europe actually came up with the same idea, and they were able to actually make this. And here's the website if you want to check it out, waterlilyturbine.com. So they actually was able to do this. And also, how do you make the generator cheap, right? Because we need to have a low-cost solution. So one way is to be able to use a car alternator and rewind it, right, to make it a low-speed generator. And on the right side, I'm also here. You can see I'm also interested in human-powered generator. So one of the things that we tried is what we call play park generator, where kids can play, and then while they play, they can generate power for us. That's, for example, swing. While they're playing swing, seesaw, and merry-go-round, as they're having fun, they can also generate power, right? And so these are basically the different areas of research that you can do. You have source manager, which is managing the sources, and then you have the central controller managing the sources, the load, and the energy storage, right? And so you have three different managements, three different managers, basically: source manager, energy storage manager, and load manager, and then all centralized into central controller that is able to decide what power flows to where, right? And so that's on the high level. That's what we'll be going to do it. And on the interface side, multiple inputs in the output. I tried that. It's not so easy to develop, but alhamdulillah, we were able to develop the technology that we were able to patent in 2019. I received the patent from the U.S. Patent Office, and there's the picture of the MISO, multiple inputs in the output, which again, a converter that's able to take in multiple sources and output only one. And on the load side, there's so many things that you can do. Protection is one of them. I won't go through this in detail because of the time constraint. And then smart wall plug, right? If you go back to this quickly, right? You have these different loads, and every single load of this DC load, they're running at different voltages. One of them at 5 volts, at 12 volts, at 9 volts. So how can you power all these different loads voltages from one single voltage? Right? It will not be wise if you have multiple wall plugs. Right? If it's AC, you only have one wall plug, right? Because one type, because they're standardized. In Indonesia, that's 220 volt wall plug. But if it's DC, then there is no standard. So you have to be smart about it. And so one thing that we can do is to have a smart wall plug, where if somebody is plugging into the smart DC wall plug, then that smart DC wall plug is able to determine what voltage the load should output or should be drawing. Right? So that's another thing that you can actually try. I've tried 3 times. We can get it to work, but I'm still not happy with the results. So this is something that you can also look into. Right? So imagine you have a wall plug, you plug in a DC load, and the wall plug technology or circuitry behind the socket is able to determine what voltage it should put out to this load. Okay. Another expansion of the DC load application is distributed energy system. Right. In Indonesia, we have some villages that have clustered homes, such as in Flores, right, I believe. And there's some pictures here I found in the internet. You can see one village consists of cluster of houses, and this is a perfect condition for DC network. So you can run DC house for each house, and you network them. So you can exchange energy between houses. And here's a picture of the diagram of the DC network. If you have a cluster in your home, it's like this, right? So that will be more, efficient. So here's an example of conventional technology on the left, and what I propose to do with the DC house technology, right there. Okay. This is an example of using centralized, micro hydro or solar farm, wind turbine, and then it powers so many houses. Right? This is a big scale system, and you can see here the sources are distributed. Right? Each one of these houses is DC house. Right? So, for example, if you still stick with again, I'm not saying something bad about the micro hydro. I'm just trying to emphasize, the disadvantage of the conventional system because it is centralized. So then, if, for example, the source is down, then all of these houses will be down as well. Right? So if the source is down, all the houses will be out as well. If the power station is down, then again, all the houses are down. No electricity, right? Blackout. Right? If the main line out of the power station is down, again, because it's centralized, that means all the houses are blacking out, right, from electricity. Right? Same thing with the secondary line. Then the top houses will be gone. Right? And you get the idea, right? But then if you are using DC house network, for example, right, you can see there's no centralized source. If let's say one house, the source of this house, the solar panel on this house is down, would this house be having blackout? The answer is no, it still be good because this house now is being supplied by the other houses, assuming that the houses have excess energy, right? So it can be supplying, it can be using power from other houses, right? If that line is down, would this house blacking out? No, not necessarily, because this house has its own source, right? If this line is down, would any of these houses down? No, right? They're still good. So you can see, hopefully by going through that example quickly, because I'm running out of time, I'm pretty sure, that we have a better system, and more reliable system. And then every time I've done, every time I do a presentation on DC house, somebody always asks, can we use this technology for urban homes, houses in the city? And the answer to that is yes. Right? This is what we call hybrid AC-DC. So I project that in the future, our house, right, in the city, for example, will be running two different electricity. One is AC from PLN, for example. The other one is DC, right? And you can see there are two different lines, right? The AC is supplying the AC loads, the big AC loads such as washing machine, refrigerator, and then the solar panel and other DC sources will power the lightings, LEDs, as well as portable electronics through USBs. So you can see the phase processing between the two. I can talk more about this if you're interested. I can definitely do a technical presentation on this. Just let me know. Okay. So that's called hybrid AC-DC. And then we also have the net zero energy building with the DC house. We had the foundation on getting this net zero energy building so that we can have we can be independent from utility companies, right? We don't have to pay any more utility bill by doing so. And it's just an example of a software that you can use to manage the energy flows from and into your house. And briefly, these are the DC house prototypes that have been built so far. One at Cal Poly, another one at Pajajaran University, and then and in the Philippines, and then in the Regency office in Jatinangor, kantor apa ya? I think the Indonesian word would be kantor bupati, if I'm not mistaken, in Jatinangor. So we installed a DC house system there, mixing solar and small scale wind. Right. And then again, I always like to share this presentation or this research because it is a huge undertaking. I could not do this by myself. I am going to need so many help from as many people as I could. Right? So it doesn't matter which part of the DCR system you're interested in. There's always a place for you to improve and develop the technology. So let me know if you're interested. Right? So as a summary, residential DC loads will become increasingly prevalent in types and capacity, coupled with increasing use of PVs, the need for developing a residential DC electrical system to facilitate the efficient use of DC sources and load becomes crucial. Right? And then again, as I said, my projection is that the future homes will be hybrid. We'll be following some kind of a hybrid format where we have AC and DC electrical system in the house. Still a lot to explore and develop, but on the software side, we have energy management system, for example, right? Energy management system for the hybrid AC-DC house, for the network, and for the smart DC wall plug. Right? These are just some examples of the software. I don't want you to think that this project only deals with hardware, but also there's quite some software side that should be developed for this project as well. Some references and that would be it. Again, if you're interested, I have a website, dcl.kapolri.edu, and that will conclude my presentation and brief introduction to the DCS project. I hope that gives you some kind of understanding on what I'm trying to do for improving electrical system in the future. And with that, I'm going to close my presentation. Thank you again for the opportunity. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Prof. Taufik. That's very nice and very inspirational presentation topic. Yeah. Okay. Maybe any question from the participant? Okay, Prof. Taufik, I want to ask you about the beneficial from DC compared from AC.
Yeah, the benefits of AC versus DC. This question has been around for more than a century, right? With the war of current, you probably heard AC versus DC battles between Edison and Tesla. And so at that time, as you know, Tesla won the battle, not because Edison's system was something wrong with the Edison system. I think the technology was not there yet. But these days we do. These days we have the polyphonic to back up the idea that Edison had. So I think it is time for us to revisit the electrical systems, right, so that we can take advantage of the DC system. Again, it's a technology. You always have a trade-off, right? There's benefits, there's drawbacks. Same thing with AC versus DC. The advantage of DC is that contextually, right, the loads nowadays are more DC, right? So not more DC, sorry. The loads that we have at our homes now, quantity-wise, right, has becoming more and more DC. The AC still is there, but the DC keeps growing. So if that's the case, then the advantage of DC would be more efficient, right? Because then you don't have to do the multiple conversion anymore from AC to DC and then from DC to DC. So rather you can go straight from DC to DC. So in our world, power electronics world, that represents efficiency, and efficiency represents energy savings, right? Which means you pay less money if your system is more efficient. But again, every technology always has the downside. I'm not going to say that DC is perfect. There's no perfect solution. Period. DC has a drawback. Definitely has a drawback compared to AC. I've talked about the wonderful things about DC, but DC also has a downside, disadvantages. The one that is popular that people know is the protection, right? DC is probably not as safe as AC, right? Because if you think about DC, voltage DC is flat, whereas AC goes up and down, right? If you have an AC voltage following a sine wave, for example, that voltage goes up, and then at some point of time, it goes to zero, right? So from that point of view, it's easier to protect, right? And then it's safer, because that voltage at some point of time crosses zero. In DC, there is no zero crossing. It's going to be all high. If you have a 48 volt DC, all the time it's going to be 48 volt DC. If you get shocked by 48 volt DC, then you get shocked by 48 volt DC flat. Whereas if you get shocked by 120 volt AC, then that voltage goes up and then it goes down. So you can actually has a pull out, from the shock. You're able to pull out from the shock because of the fact that voltage goes to zero. And it is tricky to actually protect a DC system. I do have, in the presentation, I can actually skip it. One of the research I've done is arc fault interruption. So in DC, it's very hard to detect arcing. Arcing means you have two wires, right? DC, where electron jumps from one wire to another wire because they wear out. They get old, they wear out. In AC, it's easy to do so because then we can actually see in time domain that there is arcing going on. In DC, if arc goes on, time domain-wise, you cannot see it. It looks like it is a normal operation, so that's dangerous because if you don't protect it, then your house catches fire, right? So what we propose is that we use frequency domain to actually detect arcing. So that's another topic by itself. But anyhow, I think I can go on and on about the advantages versus disadvantages. So, but bottom line, there's always positive, there's always negatives, right? But again, given what we have nowadays and what we're going to have in the future, I think we should revisit, right? We should now take a look at how can we improve our electrical systems by incorporating or integrating more DC in our house. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Taufik. I think Prof. Taufik has answered from the question of Pak Itmi Hidayat from Electrical Engineering UMP. Okay, one question more, Prof. Taufik, from Pak Regawa. I will read the question. Thanks for excellent presentation, Prof. Taufik. I'm very grateful if Professor would give the explanation further when we can be asked that solar cell is efficient while the lifetime is still short, high price, and the efficiency of the conversion from solar energy to electric energy still low.
Yeah, so the efficiency is low. That's on the solar side, the physical or the material side. Unfortunately, that's something that I could not answer. I am not a material science expert, but the efficiency of converting energy, when you get the energy from the solar cell, it was my head. The energy from the solar cell, right? Once you get the energy, then the conversion from that energy, let's say from DC out of the solar cell to another DC, that's high. The efficiency is high. So if you are asking about conversion of energy from lights into electricity, that's very low, yes. And I don't know the answer to that because, again, I'm not a material science expert. But if you're referring to efficiency from the output of the solar cell to another DC, for example, that by itself is already high. I would say around 95% or above. So that's already very efficient. So so that's my answer.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Taufik. Because the time is up, the question may ask directly to you. Okay, and we have to jump to the next session. Thank you very much for Prof. Taufik for the inspirational presentation, and I hope this is useful, very useful for us. Okay, thank you, Prof. Taufik. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the next one is speech by TS Dr. Siti Nurul Mahfuzah Muhammad as a session 1 in plenary session, but the second speakers entitled Integrating Multiple Intelligences and Technology in an Online Course. And before presenting the material, let me read a brief CV of Dr. Mahfuzah. Okay, personal particulars. Name T.S. Dr. Siti Nurul Mahfuzah Muhammad. I'm so sorry, I don't know the abbreviation of TS.
TS means Professional Technologies for ICT.
Oh, thank you. The age 41 years old, younger than me. Religion Islam, okay. Current position Director in University Press ya, aras bawah bangunan perpustakaan Laman Hikmah, University Technical Malaysia Melaka. Okay, and Program Manager of Lifelong Learning Center PPSH, Office of the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic International UTEM, member of Pervasive Computing and Educational Technology PET, Center for Advanced Computing Technology UTEM, and senior lecturer. Okay, academic and professional qualification. She is a professional technologist in discipline ICT from Malaysia Board of Technologies, and PhD in Interactive Media from University Technical Malaysia Melaka, UTEM, and so on, many more qualification. Okay, and research interests and field of expertise. Yet gamification, adaptive learning, massive open online courses, game-based learning, e-learning, m-learning, interactive media, and pervasive computing. And then she has many certificates, international certificates, yeah. Cisco Certified Network Associate, Oracle Academy, Adobe Certified Expert in Flash, S3, Adobe System Incorporated, Digital Storytelling with Microsoft Suite, Microsoft Teams, Microsoft Office Specialist, and many more. According to me, Dr. Mahfuzah is your discipline is collaborate, yeah, between IT and education. Yes. Okay. Okay, very interesting. Okay, to Mr. Mahfuzah, now I would like to invite you to deliver the second speech. Please, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Okay, can you see my screen right now?
Yes.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning, everyone. Thank you, moderator. Thank you very much to organizer, University of Muhammadiyah Purwokerto, Faculty of Engineering and Science. Okay, thank you for giving me these opportunities to share my knowledge today in this session. Okay, so because of face-to-face classroom, from the blended learning. So right now, I believe all the educators around the world conduct the online class, okay, fully online class. So I choose this topic, integrating multiple intelligence and technology in online course. Okay. So, little bit information summarized. Okay, the infographic. Okay, moderator already mentioned about my background. So in general, my expertise is more on the educational technologies, the gamifications, MOOCs, and related with the e-learnings. Okay, M-learning and so on. For the administrative jobs, right now I lead the UTM Press. Is more on the book publishing and the multimedia department at UTM. Maybe after this we can collaborate with University of Muhammadiyah and also Prof Taufik. Okay, we also want to go to US. Okay, after the pandemic solved. So the topic, the point of discussion today is what is the theory of multiple intelligence? What are the type of the intelligence? We know that all of the students, all the educators have their own strength, own intelligence. Okay, and what is the current issues with the online learning? That is the problem. What we having a problem when we do the online learning. Okay, and how can we know what is our strength? So that's why there's a lot of instrument for the multiple intelligence test. So maybe after this session, you can try the MI test. Okay, and what are the how can we integrate? How can we combine the multiple intelligence and the technologies, the different teaching strategies, something like that. And I try to share the Hitagogi design process and a little bit sample about MI and gamification and the trend. Okay, it's a theories from the Professor Howard Gardner. Okay, it's mentioned that we as a human, at least we have two or more intelligence. Okay, let's say this student have a visual intelligence and this student have a musical intelligence. So we need to identify what are the students' strengths actually before we start our class. Okay, that's why the instrument, the MI test, we need to conduct the MI test before we start our class. For next semester, maybe next semester, next session, all the educators here can try the MI test. Okay, so the theory is where Gardner suggests that all people have different kind of intelligence. Okay, this is a type of multiple intelligence. There are 8 types of intelligence. The first one is word smart, okay, or verbal linguistic. Okay, blogging, reading, writing. Now is because of the lockdown. Okay, it's time from this verbal linguistic to do. Yeah, knowledge. Okay, and writing books is one of the intelligence for word smart. Okay, okay, and then a visual special, picture smart. Okay, student with the visual special intelligence are being understanding the relationship between image and meaning. In other words, actually, this student love to create infographics, okay, videos, okay. Now we can see start from last year, there are a lot of videos at YouTube channel, right? Okay, webinar session, live streaming. Okay, this is from the visual special intelligence. And then the third one is body smart. Okay, athlete now Olympic, right? Olympic at Tokyo. So gamers who play games in Indonesia, I believe ada ramai gamers, right? E-sport or something like that. Sport teacher, the example of the person using the body linguistics. Okay. Oh, Doctor, I want to present first. Doctor, a lot of questions during the online session. So this is for the body smart. Okay, and then a number smart, logic mathematics. Student with the logic mathematics can easily understand the process. They learn step by step. That means you need to give a guide. Okay, what you have to do. This is a first step, second step, next step. Okay, engineers, mathematics, mathematician, and leaders also need from this intelligence, because leaders need to strategize, right? Need to set the goals, the mission with the to the company and so on. Okay, so the next one is music. Music is smart. Okay, students love to sing and listen the music when studying. That's mean a composer, musician. Sometimes our kids also love to, when they're reading, they listen to the music, right? Okay, this is from the music smart. Okay, and then during the lockdown, this kind of intelligence is benefit to them, because they can do their prefer to stay at home and work alone, because they feel comfortable. Okay, they set their own study rooms and so on, independent and goal oriented. Okay. And then interpersonal, people smart. Okay, this intelligence highlight the ability to relate to others, excellent presentation skill. Okay, they know how to communicate with others. This kind of student love to do the collaborative activity, the collaborative learning. That means it's very active and energetic when you do the discussion with the team members. That means when we do the online class, that means we can conduct a breakout session. So this kind of student can lead and as a team leader, okay, for their teamwork assignment. Okay, and then the last one, nature smart, naturalistics. This student, okay, something like that, right? So what is the current issue right now? Okay, we already know that there are 8 types of multiple intelligence. So the issue is, how can we apply the teaching strategy of MI? Okay, what are the techniques and materials that can be employed in the teaching through this multiple intelligence? Okay, maybe we can apply combinations, multiple intelligence and gamification approach, multiple intelligence and the cooperative learning, multiple intelligence and with the problem-based learning. So it's up to you which type of teaching strategy that you want to apply in the classroom. And then the second one is preparing teaching materials. Okay, provide a variety of experience and rich activity to meet all the student needs. Okay, you already identify these students have different strengths. So that's mean you as a educator, we need to guide or assignment, but student can choose what kind of platform that they use for the submission of the assignment. Okay, I will explain later on the next slide. And then the lack of motivation in teaching and learning using online. So educators still, sometimes they still prefer to use a traditional approach of teaching. For example, before this face-to-face class, they have 3 hours class session per week, for example. Okay, but they still use online learning, use Zoom or WebEx. They still conduct 3 hours lesson with student and teaching as usual. Okay, just the difference is the platform, Zoom, WebEx. That is wrong for me. Okay, because the 3 hours using online, okay, you can conduct only half an hour and 1 hour. Okay, and then you can plan the activity for the online session. You have to brief the demonstration to your student, and then another 1 hour you can conduct any activities, and then the third session maybe you can do the reflection activity or you can conduct the assessment. So maybe you can combine online and offline session for your student. Okay, so this is the other issues with the online learning. Okay, lack of expertise. Oh, I don't know how to use Canva. I don't know how to create videos. I don't know how to screencast my demonstration. Okay, this is but we can learning. There's a lot of free webinars, YouTube guide. Okay, so you can start one by one. But for the student or educator, that's a problem with the visual spatial intelligence because all the tutorial are in YouTube right now. Okay, so maybe they can get the different platform, the books, okay, to get to add your knowledge, okay, to reskill or upskill your current skill lah, knowledge. Okay, and lack of time, of course, we don't have time. Educator also researcher, supervise. Okay, we write a book, publication, and so many things, consultant, and a lot of things. Okay, of course, lack of time is one of the issues in the online learning because we don't have time to prepare all this teaching and learning material. Okay, okay, and then lack of funding budget. Okay, maybe for engineering, for example, okay, when you want to teach something subject like welding, something like that, you want to use the technology like VR, virtual reality, and augmented reality. You need the device, right? Device. So students need the device to that's why I put it lack of funding or budget because you need to buy a device. Internet connection, that is the problem sometimes, right? Okay, so training faculty can support with the training. Okay, so this is the basic current issues with the online learning. Okay, let's look at this image. Okay, for a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Okay, please climb that tree. Okay, so you just imagine how can the penguin, elephant climb that tree. Okay, alright. So everybody is a genius actually, but if you judge the elephant, penguin to climb that tree, they will believe that they are always stupid, right? So we have to identify. Oh, okay, we need to identify the strengths so all of the students can submit their creative answers to you. Okay, so at the end of the class, you can see your student more confidence. Okay, more confidence when they do the presentation. Look at the multiple intelligence in education. Okay, so as an educator, okay, this is our task, our responsibility is to understand student intelligence. Okay, then we know how to implement the MI in the classroom and how to benefit from them. Then we need to practice, okay, according to the type of intelligence. Then at the end, we can develop student talents and ability. Okay. So this is the instrument for the MI test. Okay, so from this instrument, we can see start from 1992. There are also MI questionnaire from the Gartner from 1999, McKinsey, Cameron and Armstrong. Okay, there's a lot of instrument here, research instrument to identify your strength. Okay, I already shared this slide with the link. Okay, you can just click. This is the traditional MI. Answer the question. I think around 20 questions. Okay, this is example of the question. I can play a musical instrument. Okay, you can just give the score from 1 to 4. If you know how to play piano, you know how to compose a music, then you put it 4. Okay, this is this is example from the Microsoft Excel. Number 4 is example from, I already give you the link. At the bottom, there are a link for the MI test. You can click and download the Excel. Then when you put the score, and then you can automatically get the graph. Okay, what is your strength? Okay, this is a traditional ways of the test. Okay, from the web page, from the website. Okay, then when you help the student understand about the MI, this perspective can boost their confidence and increase their motivation to learn. Okay, and of course, it's enhance the learning engagement. Okay, and okay, I also love to work smart, not to work hard. Okay, so after this, hopefully all the participants here we can align. Okay, we can align our strength. Right. So the main point is the multiple intelligence and the technologies. Okay. Technology will not replace the great teachers, but technology is in the hand of the great teacher can be transformational. Okay, this is how we can use the technology. There's a lot of Web 2.0 tools right now, the disruptive technology. So why not we just use that technologies and apply to our classroom, right? But teachers who use technology will probably replace teachers who do not. Okay, so right now we have AI robot to replace teachers, kind of something like that. Okay, so this is an example of the MI and the gamification. This project actually student motivation. I try to add on the gamification approach. The gamification is the application of the game design element and game principle in a non-game context. You play, but you are not playing actually. Gamification is commonly used to improve your user engagement, learning, ease of use, because we use the same game element. The mission, you get the badge. There are level 1, level 2, level 3. Then you end the process of learning. You get reward, something like that, and then there are leaderboard. Okay, so that is how we can use the MI and the gamification. I'll show you the example here. Okay, this is one of my project. Okay, so you go to the front page, for example. Okay, and then you take the MI test. Okay, you can answer the question. Okay, you answer the question here. And then when you press the button calculate there, linguistic or interpersonal, something like that. And then you can click to the track. Okay, the highest mark of your intelligence, you click to the visual, and then you can get the analysis. Okay, this is just information, what you can do, what is your strength in the intelligence. And then go to you can start the course. Okay, you can see you are follow the track for the visual intelligence track. So the other stuff like logic, mathematics, interpersonal is already locked. Okay, you only can follow the track for the visual intelligence. Okay, this is what we call it adaptive learning. Okay, you follow the track. Okay, maybe in your class you have around 60 students. Maybe 20 of the students are visual learners, so they follow this track. Okay, maybe another 10 of your student is logic mathematics student, they follow different track. But in the in the same material, different path, okay, based on the strength. And then student will start learning, and then after the session of learning, they can go to the next level. Okay, this is how we use the MI and gamification in your classroom. Okay, when students learn the effective use of the visuals, actually it's improved understanding of what they are expected to learn. Okay, because research also shows that thinking creatively helps students to actively engage with the learning content and more readily retain information. Then you can see when you apply and you practice all these the theories and these methods, these strategies, you can see the improvement of the academic achievement of your student. Okay. So everyone know what is a pedagogy? Okay, we know pedagogy, right? Pedagogy is for children learning. We focus on the co-learning or co-content. Cybergogy is online environment And what is pedagogy? Pedagogy is self-direct learning. Okay, so I apply pedagogy design process in my class. Okay, there are six steps here. Okay, start with the explore, create, collaborate, connect, reflect, and share. Okay, let's start with the exploration first. Okay, before we help student to guide student to explore, we need to identify the student's strength first, do the MI test, and then we give them the suitable platform or suitable technology for this kind of student. Actually, I have a system that I can group this kind of student. That means, oh, this student, you are visuals, you are in the visual groups. This is a logic mathematics student, you are in this group. Okay, so, and then when they know the content, okay, and then we can give them a collaborative, working together in 3 to 4 students in one group, try to collaborate with them, okay, and then connect with the social media. There's a lot of platform right now for the connect to each others, and then reflect with what they learn and share the knowledge. Okay, let's look one by one. Okay, for the exploration, give student to gather the information, gather the data, investigate what they want to learn. Okay, try to find out as much as they can. Give them time, or give 1 week, at least 1 week or 2 weeks to explore the tools. 1 week is enough for me. Okay, then get student involved. You have to align with the topic that you want to. All the educators here can use, engineer, lecturers, all the niche area can apply this pedagogy design. See, students start get the online certificate. This is from the Adobe Education Exchange. There's a lot of platforms, something like this. Okay, students get the digital badge and then get the status as an influencer. Okay, this is a good, I think it's one of the achievement when students try to gain the certificate professional from Adobe. Okay, this is for student portfolio actually after they graduate. This is the student portfolio that they can compile in their portfolio, right? So as educator, we also have a badge as a creative educator. MIE from Microsoft, we have MIE expert, right? Okay, for the professional certificate and so on. So it's free. It's free. You can try and get this certificate. You can go to the YouTube channel. You can try to search my name, Mahfuzah Muhammad, and then I already give you the step by step. So if you're active, actually, you can take the exam for the Adobe certificate also, right? Okay, and then after student explore all the platform, get the badge, get the certificate online, and then actually student learn and create new things. Okay, the new knowledge is gained and apply. Okay, they try to create fun, something like a fully interactive presentation. They got an idea. I got this knowledge from this platform. Okay, I want to create something new and something different. Okay, so make students feel confident and comfortable. Okay, so because right now it's education 4.0, all the content created actually is from students. We as educator, we just guide them and facilitate the student. Okay, so this is example submission from the student. Okay, you can see. And I put it on the Wakelet platform and then embed in the Microsoft team. All the teaching and learning material is in the Microsoft teams. We also have Moodle, right? I believe the University of Muhammadiyah also have your own learning management system. I think Moodle is the general platform. You can make it as a one-stop center. So you can see, one student submit their assignment with the video, okay, and another student give the assignment infographic infographic template. Other students leave the web page. So you can get a lot of variety submission of the student. This is how we improve the motivation of the student. Okay. So collaborate. It's benefit to actually for the interpersonal student, right? For interpersonal student, they like to working together to complete their mission. They recognize the team members' strength and weaknesses. Okay, let's say I give them a project to do something project. Okay, this student with the verbal linguistic, wow, you are very good in writing, so you will do the report. Okay. Okay, this is a student with a visual student. Okay, you do the presentation. You do the slide presentation, prepare the slide. Okay, you are a student strength with the interpersonal. Okay, you do the presentation, you present. Okay, because you have the communication skill. Okay, so then they collaborate. Okay, you can collaborate using the platform actually. Okay, you give them the platform. Everything is online right now. Okay, there's no traditional collaborate, no face-to-face meeting. Everything is online. Okay, and I think of course, you need to give credit to others for contribution. You need to highlight, oh, this student, this designer, writer. Okay, you need to highlight the collaboration. Using Adobe Spark. Okay, that means you can see the project, share with you. That means student invite me as a collaborator also. Actually, I asked them to add me as members, as a collaborators, because I want to monitor the progress and I want to monitor the facts, the data, and so on. So you can use, this is one of the example. Actually, there's a lot of tools for teaching and learning. Okay, so you can monitor the activity of the student. Okay, this is another example. We use online whiteboard like Miro. Okay, so we can highlight we can assign. Okay, this group. Okay, you do this activity in Miro. Everything is online, so student can collaborate and give the inputs and reflect what they learned before. Okay, this is another Miro application from the Microsoft. Platform or not, but it's very interesting tools. Okay, and then develop the interaction online. You can do the online class, offline. Okay, you can use Telegram, WhatsApp to communicate more. And student needs to work independently. Give them time. Okay, you propose, you give the mission today, and you want that the submission tomorrow is strong. Give them time, at least 1 week to prepare. Okay, to prepare and contribute the ideas. Okay, so if you want to keep them engaged, then we have to keep things feeling fresh. The new things. Okay, new technologies. Okay, research shows that when students tell the stories, either they use blog, write reporting, and so on, present to an audience, share information visually, they engage more deeply with a course content and gain confidence. Reflects. Okay, of course, they need to reflect. What to improve next? What next? Okay, what can I do after this? Oh, I need to learn more about this. I need to improve about this topic. So students will reflect on their knowledge and the learning process, and you can do the assessment. You can do the online quiz. You can collaborate. When you use the problem-based learning, real life project, okay, you can give the task. There's a lot of, now is a freelance platform, right? Okay, for design, we have a design cloud, artwork. Okay, you can guide them to use, communicate with the real clients. Okay, with the real client, and then you get the feedback from the expert, from the client. From that, you can reflect. Oh, okay, this client reject my design. This client reject my proposal. So they know their level. So last semester, most of the more than half of my students get income USD from the real life project, from the freelance platform. It's very successful project. Okay, so student confident and then continue with the project. Okay, so this is the just from my student. They mentioned about the Adobe Spark, for example. We give them new experience to set up slide for the presentation. Okay, it's much easier and amaze me by the features. It's up to them. They want also, they also can use Canva and so on. Okay, so and the last part is sharing. Okay, sharing this. When they earn the money income from the assignment, from the project-based learning, okay, they start sharing at the social media. Oh, I got this project, or my client mentioned this, whatever. They start to create the online learning community. And then it's good for them to start create the networking with the other students. Okay, so this is example of my students share their works at Instagram, Facebook. Okay, it's very confident. Okay, now they're confident to create their own YouTube channels. Okay, it's very good actually. Right? So this is another example for the Web 2.0 tools. Okay, you can see for the visual, spatial, picture smart, intelligent, they can use AR, augmented reality, to present the teaching and learning materials, the presentation tools, of course, visual strength. You can use Flipbook, Mind Map, also one of the tools. If you use the Mind Map with the image, okay, there are other picture smart. If you use the Mind Map with the you can use the online whiteboard, website, project management. All of this is a Web 2.0 tools. Okay, actually it's more than 1,000 tools that we can use free right now. Okay, it's free. You just log in with your institution email. Okay, don't use the Gmail account. Use the institution email. Okay, at Malaysia we have edu.my. I'm not sure in Indonesia your email address. You can ask your IT department how can you get all these login free for educators. Okay, so it's time to reflect on our action and decide what we need to change. Okay, so we as an educator, it's our role, it's our responsibility to create a new fun environment, so where the process can impact on the student in the learning process. Okay, so because because of this pandemic, learning material, especially at the primary school, and secondary school, a lot of messages at WhatsApp group, Telegram group. Then sometimes you're missing the material from the teachers, right? So that's why we need a platform, technology, one-stop centers. All the teaching material is in one-stop center. If you use the Microsoft Teams, yes, please do that. Okay, if you use the Moodle, LMS, please use that technology. It's not that difficult. Right now, everything is you click, everything done. It's not like we as a generation, why when we want to create a website, okay, we use HTML code, right? Okay, right now, you want to create a website, something like weekly, weeks, so you just upload the email, you just key in the tag, then you publish. That's it. It's very easy. Only 2-3 steps. You can get what you want right now. Okay. So and then you can practice in the classroom. So we as an educator also, we need to constantly come up with a new idea. The innovation of the teaching and learning. There are a lot of innovation in teaching and learning, in interactive teaching material, and update with the technologies. Okay, please update with the IR 4.0, something like that. Okay. Okay, so all the contents today is actually in this book. Okay, this book is still in the final process, typesetting process. Maybe I will make sure that this book live at Google Books and Amazon maybe end of August or September, something like that. So after this, you can try Google this topic, integrating multiple intelligence and technology, and then or maybe you can email to me if you want to know details about the ebooks and so on. So right now we only can launch ebooks, ebook version. Okay, so okay, thank you. That's all from me.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mahfuzah.
Yep.
It's very, very impactful, yeah. But I had that there is a hedagogy.
Yeah, pedagogy.
Yeah, hedagogy. This is a new term for me. Okay, according to me, the multiple intelligence is related, yeah, with Bloom taxonomy, maybe namely cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. Okay, three domains is cope with the multiple intelligence. So there is a question from Mr. Gowo. Now the online is used as media to deliver what? Sorry, my chat is closed. Okay, the question. Now the online is used as media to deliver courses material. Would you please give some experience how the method of multiple intelligence and gaming could monitor the attitude of students?
Okay, good questions. Okay, gamification is different things. Gaming, you play the games. Okay, it's something like game-based learning. Okay, you follow all the game methods and so on. But for the gamification, is a non-game context. You didn't play anything. You just use the game element. You only have the avatar, you have the badge, the level, and so on. But before we start to apply this game or gamification or game-based learning, you have to think like a game designer. You don't have to think like a ID instructional designer. That is the tradition.
Okay.
Then you want to play games, and then you try to assign the content. Okay, when you say how can you monitor the attitude of the student? Actually, when you develop a system, actually you can monitor the attitude of the student, because in the game player type there are explorers, socializer, right? There are 4 types of game types. Okay, you can create the indicator. Okay, create the indicator. Okay, when they explore all the tasks, all the key point. Okay, this student have this point. Okay, and then at the end you can get the leaderboard. Okay, you can set the leaderboard. Okay, oh, this leaderboard, oh, this student is very excellent. Okay, achieve all these assignment, follow the due dates, follow all the level requirements. That is how you can monitor. It's by you as a developer. We can maybe we have the game scorecard, something like that. Game scorecard, you can do it. Okay, so it just need a simple development. You can ask IT student to help you to create the monitoring, and then at the end you can get the leaderboard. That's how you can monitor student.
Okay, thank you very much.
Ideal time for us teacher.
Okay.
IT
Good
department
idea.
can help you.
Prepare
Good idea. Good idea.
many material for students. Okay.
Yeah.
The second question is from Ganda, Universitas Gadjah Mada. How does formal school education adapt curriculum or learning material to suit each multiple intelligence?
Actually, at the primary school, in the higher education department, we already have the guide for the multiple intelligence. That is at Malaysia. I'm not sure Indonesia give the guideline how to apply the MI. Actually, all the student, primary school, secondary school, they have early January we start the education, right? So they need to answer the question. So the teachers know, oh, this student have this strength, this strength. That's why actually the MI is already that in the textbooks, all the activity books already in the animation we already apply that. I'm not sure Indonesia.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mahfuzah. The last short question.
Okay.
Is online course suitable for kindergarten? Maybe the answer is yes or no. Short answer.
The answer is yes. Yes, you can apply to the kindergarten student. You can apply to your kid first. Okay, you have to identify. For example, my son have problem with the reading. Okay, when he's still in the standard one, still didn't know about ABC because of the traditional. Actually, when I identify my strength of my son, intelligent. So I try to exchange the method. Okay, so the answer for the short question is yes. You can apply that in kindergarten.
Short question and short answer.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for Dr. Mahfuzah for the inspirational speech and maybe give us motivation to teach for our students.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks to all the keynote speakers who have delivered wonderful presentation. May this all be useful for us. Amen.
Okay, thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, while the next agenda is the plenary session 2, I would like to return this event to Master of Ceremony, MC. If in guiding this event I have made mistakes or offended someone, please forgive me. Thank you for paying attention and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The third keynote speaker is Professor Song Chol Kim, PhD, Yangnam University, Gyeongsan, South Korea. And the fourth keynote speaker is Dr. Juanita MT, Universitas Muhammadiyah Purwokerto, Department of Civil Engineering, Indonesia.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you very much for all participants. Let me head or deliver or moderate the second plenary sessions. As Mrs. Frida said that in the plenary session there are two parts. First plenary session already done, and then the second plenary session, inshallah, will be an interesting talk because I know well the presenter, especially Professor Song Chol Kim. Hello, Professor Song Chol Kim.
Good morning.
Morning. I miss our laboratory, Prof. I hope maybe next in the near future I could be there again, at least to do some work or research together there. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, in the second plenary session, there are two speakers, but I'm gonna divide into two parts. First is Professor Song Chol Kim. Maybe the role is same, so there will be speech time for Professor Song Chol Kim. It's about 30 minutes, and then after that there are question and answer sessions. I hope maybe 10 minutes, maybe more is okay. Then before started Professor Song Chol Kim presentation, I'm gonna read a brief curriculum vitae about him. he graduated from Industrial Chemistry, College of Engineering, Kyungpook National University, Daegu, Korea. And then he got master degree from Department of Chemical Technology, Seoul National University, Seoul, Korea. And then he got PhD degree from Department of Chemistry, Polymer Science and Engineering program, HUMAS Lowell, United States. And then there are many publications, but I'm going to read some important information about award. Professor Song Chol Kim got award, first awarded Chemist of the Year in ACS. ACS is American Chemical Society, I think, New York meeting in September 2003. And then designated as a member, Medicine Who is Who Dictionary, Innovative Korean Award, 2016, and also designated as a member in December 2017, Marcus Who is Who Dictionary. There are so many publications. I will not read this publication because we don't have enough time to read it. Okay, I think Professor Song Chol Kim will talk about polybenzoxyxine for some application. They are very interesting because related with all field in engineering, especially about application of for antifouling, supercapacitor, water splitting, photocatalyst, and oil water separation. I think that's all for introduction. And then now time is yours, Prof. Kim. You can deliver it by yourself from Korea to open your slide.
Okay, thank you for introduction. Good morning, professors and students. I think Professor Haryanto left my lab in 2015, I guess, and then 2015, right? So and then I got new student, not actually student. He got a PhD in Nano University in India, and then he joined my lab as a postdoctoral researcher. Now I have 6 postdoctoral researchers, and 5 come from India. One got a PhD in Yunnan University, but he is also Indian. And I have one PhD student. He is also Indian. Now I don't have
anymore.
I don't have any Korean graduate student yet since last spring. I usually speak in front of graduate students and professors majoring in some polymer science and engineering. So I prepared for the PPT file for them, but you know that this symposium is somewhat interdisciplinary. So I'm gonna introduce a brief of my research instead of telling details about the research, because most of students do not understand what is going on the research. You know that polymer is polymer. You know, the plastic, rubber are called polymer, and film coating materials are called polymer. So for 3 to 4 years, we have focused on the synthesis of polybenzoxazine. Polybenzoxazine is a type of phenolic polymer. Phenolic polymer has many advantages. It was invented in 1907. So it has been used for more than 100 years. This is the first plastic material invented by human. It has good physical properties such as good mechanical strength, dimensional stability, and chemical resistance. And it has good flame retardance because the phenolic material shows some flame retardance. Because of such a good mechanical property, it has been used for adhesive coating materials for paper. When you get a receipt from the supermarket, you get a phenolic resin on the back side of the receipt. And this is also used for matrix for composite material, like plywood and something like that. But some of the disadvantages of this material include some brittleness and H2O, the water molecule is evaporated during the condensation reaction. So if it is cured at higher temperature, it generates, bubble in the final product. And then we need some strong acid or base to increase the polymerization speed. So polybenzoxazine is another type of phenolic resin. This material also uses phenol as basic material. And we need some primary amine. Primary amine means that nitrogen contains 2 hydrogen and 1 carbon. So we need a formaldehyde like phenol formaldehyde resin. So this is called benzoxazine. This is electron deficient carbon. So this electron deficient carbon gets electron from this ortho position of phenolic functional group. So it is polymerized. So this benzoxazine was found in 1944, and then Burke and his co-workers developed a synthetic method for making this polymer in 1950s. It has outstanding thermal property, like Teflon and polyimide. It is stable up to 400 degrees Celsius. Because it also uses some phenolic material, it has good flame retardance. Molecular design is quite flexible because we can choose many different types of phenol, and also there are so many different types of amine. So we can get 100 kind of benzoxazine as a starting material. And we don't need any catalyst to polymerize this material. And one of the biggest advantages of this material is that there is almost a zero shrinkage before and after polymerization. So the volume of monomer is almost equal to the volume of polymer. It has a low melt viscosity and monomer state. There are some commercially available polybenzoxazine which are all made by Huntsman. Some has very good flame retardancy, and some has a lower curing temperature. Here I'm going to talk about the biopolymer and bio-based polymer. Biopolymers comes from nature. Nature makes polymers such as cellulose and lignin. When you take a look at the wood, around 70% is made of cellulose, and the other 30% is made of lignin. Lignin is kind of a scaffold and skeleton for wood. The alginate is also abundant in kelp, like seaweed. Gelatin can be obtained from the acid treatment of collagen. We have a lot of chitin and chitosan. This can be obtained from the crab and shrimp. So there is some, environmental issue. We we produce about 1 million tons of waste each day in the world. And then, so we use a lot of plastic material which is non-degradable. So they cause a lot of environmental problem in the ocean too. And also there is some global warming problem. So scientists try to find the alternative of petroleum products. So some commercially available material was invented so far. Rilsan is one of the polyimide. The polyimide was made by using some castor oil. In Sarunan Hydrel use some diol. Diol comes from the fermentation of sugar. Once sugar is fermented by some microbe, we get propylene glycol. So polyester is made by using diol and diacid. So the diol comes from this sugar. This was invented by DuPont, and purdain is another type of thermoplastic polyurethane. Polyurethane is made by condensation reaction between diol and diisocyanate. Diisocyanate comes from petroleum, but diol comes from sugar cane. So there is a challenge to explore the sustainable product as an alternative to petroleum product. So benzoxazine is the best, one of the best material to satisfy this condition. The phenolic material and amino material comes from the nature. So, as I said before, that slide was made for graduate students for majoring in polymer. So, so that contains some 4 different parts. One is dealing with some antifouling film, and the second section, I'm going to talk about the electrochemical application of polybenzoxazine-based material. In the third part, I'll tell you about the photodegradation of organic dye. This is organic dye is kind of a model compound to see the effect of photocatalyst to purify the water. And then last chapter, we made some super hydrophobic sponge material to recollect oil spill in the ocean. So biofilm is kind of a syntropic consortium of microorganisms. So to speak, this is a city of microorganisms. So one microbe live with the metabolite of the other. This is made of cells and some slimy extracellular matrix. Extracellular matrix is made by some polysaccharide, protein, DNA, lipid, etc. The problem of biofilm is that that can resist antimicrobial agents, and then sometimes that can avoid immune response of our body. So that causes 2/3 of bacterial infection in the world. So especially if a biofilm is in the medical device, that causes huge medical problem. This shows the S. aureus pathogenic microbe, which grow on the catheter surface. This is a tooth plaque. This plaque is also one of the biofilm. If you have biofilm on the wound, the curing time and the medical cost increases. This is a sewage pipe. It's very thick layer of biofilm is formed, so that reduces the flow of sewage. So antifouling film is the material to reduce the biofilm formation on the surface. So as I said, to make benzoxazine, we need phenol and we need amine. So we found amine from the nature. Chitosan is one of the amine. So there is one nitrogen here in each repeating unit. So this has good high molecular weight and is water soluble and it has amine functionality. So we chose this material as starting material, and this is eugenol, which also comes from the nature. We modified this nitrogen to make a benzoxazine ring by incorporating this the eugenol into the chitosan. We reduce the crystallinity of chitosan, and by disrupting the hydrogen bonding, by incorporating this eugenol, we could reduce the water absorption of the material. If we make a film, then film must be robust against water or any kind of solvent. So this material has good solubility in water. That is the problem. So we reduce the solubility in water, but because there are so many data, so I'm going to skip this part because this is more important. Even though we solved some of the problem, there was still some problem because the material, if we use only this material, this is quite steep and brittle. So to make the film more flexible, we add some aminocellulose. Cellulose is abundant in nature, but this is not soluble in any kind of solvent. So we modified this aminocellulose with tetraethyl pentamine. Because of this long aliphatic chain, this becomes soluble in some kind of solvent. So we made some semi-IPN, semi-interpenetrating network. This can be cross-linked by ring opening reaction. This is mixed without the covalent bonding. So this is only cross-linked and this is not cross-linked. So it forms a semi-IPN. We call it semi-IPN. But there are so many hydrogen bonding. There is a hydroxy group, amino group, and something like that. So you can form some large number of hydrogen bonding, which can prevent the phase separation of two material. So the homopolymer, eugenol-based chitosan, has a tensile strength of about 16 megapascal, but the aminocellulose material has a 12 megapascal. By combining two at different ratio, we could increase the tensile strength of the material. We could also increase the tensile elongation and Young's modulus together. We also monitor the thermal stability of this compound. T10 is the temperature at which 10% of weight loss occurs. So that 60-40 percentage of eugenol-based chitosan aminocellulose, we get 206 degree of degradation temperature. So the child was about 44.8%. So we could increase the thermal stability together by mixing two material. So we made a somewhat flexible film which has antifouling property. So take a look at this figure. This is data of S. aureus. In the control, if there is nothing, we could get a lot of biofilm formation. But in the case of eugenol-based chitosan, there is almost no biofilm formation. So we could reduce about 80% of biofilm by using some usual chitosan. But this blended system, if we add more amount of amino-based cellulose, we could somewhat reduce the value. So we successfully made antifouling film by using two material, but we tried to make antifouling and antimicrobial film, but we couldn't make antifouling, or we couldn't make antimicrobial film because if the antimicrobial material has a higher molecular weight, usually the property decreases. So in this case, we made a film. So to make a film, we need a higher molecular weight. So we have to sacrifice one property to get another property. We got antifouling property instead of antimicrobial property. This shows the data of C. albicans. Again, the biofilm formation was suppressed to 80% at higher concentration, but cell growth was not affected. So this is not toxic to some pathogenic cell, but it is effective to reduce the biofilm. Also, this fungi molecule evolved from this ellipsoidal shape to linked tree-like shape. Once it evolved, the virulence gene expression increases, and which means that this is more toxic than this one. If we use this material, we could reduce the evolution of this ellipsoidal texture to this long tree-like shape. And then we check the cytotoxicity, and the survival rate of these C. albicans was about 85 to 90%. So it is almost non-toxic to animal cell. So I'm gonna skip this part because time is limited. So second part, we made some supercapacitor and catalyst for hydrogen evolution reaction. Hydrogen industry is one of the hottest topic in Korea because hydrogen can be used for fuel for the electrical vehicle. This is a fuel for fuel cell. So why we need the supercapacitor? We need supercapacitor because it has a high power density. So Dorax and some hybrid electrical vehicle use a lot of supercapacitor. The problem of capacitor is it has very low power density, energy density, but the energy density also can be improved by using supercapacitor. We don't need any special circuit to charging means storing energy. And because there is no chemical reaction, so we run this device for more than 500,000 cycles. There are two types of supercapacitors. One is electrical double layer based supercapacitor, and the other is pseudo capacitor. Electrical double layer capacitor is made of all carbon material, and supercapacitor use somewhat different principle. The supercapacitor capacitance increases in the case of conducting polymer. Oxidation reduction reaction occurs on the active material. For metal oxide, intercalation of electrolyte can occur like lithium battery. Then how we can increase the specific capacitance of this carbon material? So we are studying the carbon material. So we try to increase the capacitance of carbon material. Carbon material is made of all carbon, carbon black, activated carbon, graphene, graphite, carbon nanotube, something like that. By introducing some heteroatoms such as nitrogen, oxygen, sulfur, phosphorus, we can introduce some supercapacitance into the double layer based capacitor. Electrical conductivity of active material is also important. And chemical stability is important to be used for a long time. And pore size distribution is also important. If pore is too small, then electrolyte cannot get into the small pore. If the pore size is too large, then the surface area of the carbon material become reduced. So we need some optimum pore size and pore size distribution. So for first trial, we made some benzoxazine monomer which has many nitrogen group by using tetraethylene pentamine as a nitrogen precursor. But the result was not so good enough. This was published in some journal, but the result was about 60 farad per gram at 1 ampere per gram of current density. So we thought that nitrogen is not enough to increase the supercapacitance. So we thought if we increase the surface area of carbon material, then we can increase the supercapacitance. So we designed a new material. This is a popularamine-based apigenin. All comes from nature. So we dissolve in the DMSO, and then we polymerize this material at a low temperature. So it becomes gel by cross-linking reaction, and then we freeze-dried this material at minus 45 degrees Celsius, and then we carbonize this material. The aerogel is a material which has more than 95% of volume is air, and less than 5% of the material is polymer. So this aerogel itself is a kind of highly porous material. So we didn't activate this material. We just carbonize this material at 700 degrees Celsius to get porous structure. So this figure shows the SM image of the carbon material obtained from benzoxazine aerogel. This is bulk material. Bulk material does not show much volume of pore, but in this case, when you use the aerogel as a precursor, we could get a large pore volume. So this PET surface area shows that bulk, with respect to bulk material, aerogel-based carbon material shows the PET surface area more than twice. And then nitrogen content, as I said before, nitrogen content is also important. We could somewhat increase the nitrogen content. So the capacitance we measured was about at 1 ampere per gram of current density. The specific capacitance was about 90 farad per gram, which shows that 50% increase of the capacitance. And then we used to increase the surface area more. We used a somewhat different method. We made this benzoxazine, and then we cured this material at 250. And then we mixed this material with KOH. KOH is an activating agent to increase the surface area of carbon. So by mixing it together, we calcinated and activated together at various temperature. This shows the SM image of the carbon material activated at 700 degree, 800 degree, and 900 degree respectively. And the surface area of this material increases by increasing the calcination temperature. So we could get the surface area up to almost 1200 square meter per gram. And the nitrogen content is not changed much. So by using this material, we measure the capacitance. The capacitance we measured at 1 ampere per gram of current density. The value was about 195 farad per gram, which is quite excellent result. And then we check the recyclability of this charge discharge of supercapacitor, which was made at 900 degrees Celsius. The original capacitance was decreased with the increasing number of cycles, but after 5,000 cycles, still up to 90% of the capacitance was maintained. So we successfully made supercapacitance by using some benzoxazine material. And then we try to make some catalyst to generate hydrogen. We try to develop some catalyst, electrical catalyst to generate hydrogen. This principle is based on this carbon nitride. Carbon nitride can be used as a photocatalyst to generate hydrogen from the aid of UV visible light. So excited electron and hole can split the water molecule into oxygen and hydrogen. But the problem of carbon nitride is that the excited electron and hole can be easily recombined together to be annihilated. So many researchers try to mimic this carbon nitride and improve the hydrogen evolution reaction efficiency. So many scientists incorporated nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, boron, etc. To modulate the bandgap structure of carbon material. So we used urea, and another material is the melamine. I didn't put the data about melamine, but I think this is enough to introduce my research. So the hydroquinone and urea are the precursor material to make benzoxazine, and that was cured at 250. And then we used low temperature calcination and activation to increase the surface area of this material. So this is the conclusion that result is published in 2020. And we made carbon material by calcination reaction, but most of the research used the hydrothermal method. The hydrothermal method uses some temperature around 250 or something like that. This is not carbon, but this is a carbon material because most of heterotherm is eliminated by thermal degradation. Taper slope shows that taper slope is important because the lower taper slope means the higher, faster reaction to generate hydrogen. So comparing this result, we could get the lowest slope, which means the efficiency is the highest for our material. And then this shows the taper slope. Taper slope gives us the information about the kinetics of hydrogen evolution reaction. So as you know that platinum is the most active material to generate hydrogen in the acidic water. So the slope is about 39 millivolts per degree, but our material has quite similar to that of platinum. And then we checked the thermal, the recyclability of this hydrogen generating catalyst at a current density of 10 millivolts per gram. So we checked the overpotential to generate hydrogen. So up to 8,000 cycle, the overpotential was almost constant, which means that this is quite stable enough to replace very expensive platinum. And take a look at third part. Here, I tried to. I'm sorry.
Maybe time is 5 to 7 minutes left, so please finish in 7 minutes. Sorry, bro.
Okay. So I'm gonna just introduce the basic concept that the zinc oxide can be used for photocatalyst, and then we try to increase the efficiency of photocatalyst in zinc oxide. So we used the nano composite using zinc oxide nanoparticle and carbon ball. Carbon ball is made from this material. Zinc oxide can use the hydroxy radical. So UV light generate the hydroxy radical by the combination of this hole with combination of hole with water. But the excited electron moved to the surface of carbon ball, which oxidize this nitrogen in the solution to generate oxygen radical anion. So from previous research, zinc oxide was the hole was only used, but by incorporating carbon ball, we could use the excited electron together. So we increased the degradation speed of the methylene blue. So when we used zinc oxide alone, the degradation was about 87% in 1 hour. But if we mix this material with the carbon ball, we could get 99% of methylene blue was degraded. So we successfully made photocatalyst to degrade organic pollutant in the water. This result was published in 2019. And then finally, we made the oil-absorbing material by using melamine sponge. Oil spill is more of the critical problem in the ocean environment. To absorb oil, we need super hydrophobic material because oil is all made of carbon and hydrogen. So it is a very hydrophobic. To absorb hydrophobic solvent, kind of solvent, we need a super hydrophobic material to selectively absorb the oil from oil-water mixture. So we designed the hydrophobic benzoxazine, and then this is the key. So we use the carbon nanoparticle, so nitrogen-doped carbon nanoparticle. So we dissolve this nitrogen-doped carbon nanoparticle with stearic acid to increase the solubility of this material in solvent. The nitrogen can function as base, and stearic acid is acid. So acid-base reaction make a complex on the surface of carbon nanoparticle, which can increase the solubility. And then we soak this melamine sponge into the solution and then cure the polymer. This cured polymer shows the super hydrophobicity. We say super hydrophobic if the water contact angle is more than 150. So melamine sponge is kind of hydrophilic. So contact angle is almost 0. If we coat the polybenzoxazine on the surface of melamine, the contact angle changed from 0 to 126 degrees. And then if we add some carbon nanoparticle, together, we could increase the contact angle further. So, so we made a superhydrophobic sponge, and then we plug the superhydrophobic melamine sponge on the neck of the funnel. So we filter the oil-water mixture. So top layer is oil, hexane, the bottom layer is water. And then we pour it into the funnel to get the only oil. Only oil can pass through this funnel, and water is remaining. So we check this absorption capacity of many different solvents with sponge. So 1 gram of sponge can absorb about 135 gram of chloroform. You know that chloroform has a higher density than any other, most of the solvents. So considering the density of the solvent, hexane shows a maximum absorption volume because the hexane has a low density. So we made successfully the hydrophobic sponge to absorb crude oil. Crude oil is similar to hexane. The hexane is all made of carbon and hydrogen. So the crude oil is quite similar to hexane. So we could get very nice results. And then we try to check the recyclability of this sponge. So originally it absorbed 130 gram, 20 cycle. This sponge can absorb 105 gram of chloroform. So the absorption capacity decreases with the number of cycle because when you squeeze the solvent, the chloroform, hexane, etc., some carbon nanoparticle which increase the contact angle is detached from the surface of melamine sponge, so that we lose some function, so the contact angle decreases, so that the absorption capacity also decreases gradually. So we saw that 6% of carbon ball has the highest contact angle, and we also checked the absorption capacity as a function of percent of carbon nanoparticle. As you can see here, the 6% shows the maximum absorption capacity. This was not published results. We'll soon publish this result. We hope this year we could publish this result. So to make it easy to understand, I put cartoon instead of some writing letter. So we made some antifouling material from natural product. And we also made some good support capacitor by using polybenzoxazine as a precursor material. So to increase the pseudo capacitance in double layer capacitor, we need to increase the content of nitrogen or sulfur, etc. So the benzoxazine contains oxygen and nitrogen, so that is a good candidate to make a carbon material to be used as a supercapacitor or the hydrogen generating catalyst. Here that we use the melamine to increase the hydrogen evolution reaction. So the melamine shows the even lower Tepel's law, which means that this is even more efficient than the previous urea-based material. We also made carbon ball, which is doped with the zinc oxide. So by making some nanocomposite, we could increase the efficiency to dissociate this organic pollutant. We also made a superhydrophobic sponge to selectively absorb the oil from the mixed solvent. So thank you for listening. And if I'm looking for some graduate students who can work for about 5 years in my lab, if you have an interest in studying in Korea, especially for polymer science, you may apply as a graduate student from my lab. Thank you. Thank you so much. Any questions?
Okay, thank you very much, Prof, for interesting speech. I think that's all about polybenzoxazine for some application. And then we go to question and answer session, Prof. But by the way, there is an offering from Prof. Song Chong Kim for all participants, maybe lecturer in Universitas Muhammadiyah Purwokerto, that Prof. Kim need. How many students, Prof, that you need graduate student for 5 years?
Yes, one or two, because one student will join next year. He got some national scholarship from Korean government. And then I need one or two students, brilliant, of course, some creative. What we are doing is basically polymer synthesis. The polymer itself is nothing, so we have to apply this material to many different fields like environmental science, electrical science, or something like that. So medical science, etc. So usually we collaborate with some other professor in Department of Pharmacy, Medical School, and Electrical Engineering, something like that. And then if you like to learn, you can learn a lot in Korea. But you have to know polymer as well as some material science and electrical engineering, physics, or something like that. This is actually a new field to me, because recently I was focusing on to making some biomedical material for, dental material, and then also I'm making some, electronic material which is used for semiconductor industry. Semiconductor industry uses a lot of devices, and I'm making some, anti-static cable.
Okay, bro. Maybe we can talk it later, maybe, and I'm going to share it to Indonesian Polymer Association about your offering. About your presentation, maybe if check in the chat room, there is no question. But maybe I have one question, Prof, for the application of polybenzoxazine for oil-water separation. So how effective this material for oil separation, Prof? Because you know that in Indonesia we are abundant of oil, crude oil. We have so many crude oil, and then we have so many refineries, and then there are some accident, usually oil leaking in the sea, on the sea. So I think that's very useful if this is effective. I mean, compared with other material.
Okay, so that I guess they use some other, that nanowoven fabric to absorb oil, but the nanowoven fabric is also effective, but this is less hydrophobic than our material. So we use the melamine sponge. Melamine sponge is used in the kitchen to clean the cooker. So the melamine sponge has a macro pore. The pore size is very important because the crude oil is very viscous. It's not like the ocean water. It's very viscous, so the pore size must be large enough, and also it should have a super hydrophobicity to increase the selectivity between oil and water. If it's hydrophobic, sometimes the water can get into the pore. So if it is super hydrophobic, then water cannot get into water, so you can easily separate the oil from water. So I told the students to increase the surface area because you have a surface, and if the hydrophilic material increases the surface, it becomes super hydrophilic. If a hydrophobic material increases surface area, it becomes super hydrophobic. So it all depends on the surface area. So I urged him to incorporate some nanoparticle, which is hydrophobic. So he used carbon nanoparticle to increase the surface area of melamine sponge. So the polybenzoxazine is a kind of glue, a binding material for this carbon nanoparticle. So we could get the super hydrophobicity.
Okay, Prof. Thank you very much, Prof. For all participants, is there any question? If there is any question, just raise your hand and then grab your microphone, please. Maybe no, Prof. There is no question anymore. Okay, this is because this is a bit deep material presentation, so I have to think hard. We are from so many backgrounds, but we are from engineering, civil engineering, electronic engineering, informatic engineering. So, okay, but
as Professor Haryanto knows, there are many Indonesian students. If you want to study in Yeongnam University, even though you are not majoring in polymer, you could join our university. I can introduce you. If you want to major in some electrical or chemical engineering, I can introduce you the other professor. So please apply for university.
Okay, that's good. That's good information. Prof, there's one question, Prof, from Mr. Go. Would you please explain how to separate the mixture of homogeneous water oil when there is surfactant inside? Could we use polybenzoxazine?
A homogeneous mixture of oil and water?
Yes. Would you please explain how to separate the mixture of homogeneous water oil when there is surfactant inside? I mean, there is surfactant inside water and oil, so this becomes homogeneous.
This is some kind of chemistry that surfactant is a charged particle, charged material, right? So we need a surfactant to reduce the surface energy between water and oil. So if usually the surfactant is negatively charged, so if you put some positively charged another surfactant, that can be precipitated, so that oil cannot be stable anymore. So that phase separation occurs. So water and oil be separated because there is no surfactant anymore, right? So that can be quite a simple process to separate oil from homogeneous mixture.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Prof.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. This is also Mr. Ko already said that. Thank you. Once again, Prof. Kim, thank you very much for a very informative presentation and interesting information. I hope this is useful for us. Once again, thank you very much, Prof.
Thank you.
Okay, see you next time in Korea.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the next speaker. Next speaker is Dr. Juanita. Before her presentation, I'm gonna read a brief curriculum vitae of Mrs. Juanita. First, her complete name is, Dr. Juanita. Actually, she is alumni of Universitas Muhammadiyah Purwokerto from Civil Engineering Department. She got bachelor degree from Universitas Muhammadiyah Purwokerto, and then master degree from ITB, Institut Teknologi Bandung, also doctor from ITB, the same university. Okay, I will not read all her research and also publication because time is very limited. And then she will deliver in this occasion and then talk about was it the regulation of non-motorized transport as the mode of choice for green transport. I think this is a very nice talk because as we know that vehicle is very disturbing in increasing the pollution in Indonesia. So I think the regulation of non-motorized transport related with green transport or green atmosphere is very nice talk. Okay, to Mrs. Juanita, time is yours. Maybe you can open your slide in your laptop. 30 minutes.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, thank you for the moderator for giving me time to speak at this conference. I ask permission to share the material. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Chairman of the In-Charge Conference Committee, the keynote speakers are Professor Taufik from Cal-Poly San Luis Obispo, United States, Dr. Siti Nurul Mahfuzah Muhammad from University Technical Malaysia, Professor Seung Hyul Kim, PhD from Yunnan University, leaders of faculties, head office study programs, and lecturer at the Faculty of Engineering and Science, and all happy participants. My God's will be blessed upon us. Thank you for coming to this presentation. I'm glad to see you all. In this opportunity, I would like to present presentation regulation of non-motorized transport as mode of choice for green transportation. In this presentation, we will discuss about regulation of non-motorized transport, where is the regulation significant for operational legality and legal protection and equality for producers. First, I will explain to you about the background of the problem. Then I will explain why regulation is important for non-motorized transport, and here presented expert input to improve non-motorized transport regulation in Indonesia, and finally the conclusion. Energy demand from the transportation. According to the International Energy Agency, the world's energy needs will increase by 45% by 2030, or an average increase of 1.6% per year, about 80% of that supplied from fossil fuel. In Indonesia, in 2018, the highest energy demand is in the transportation sector is 96%. Please look at the picture. The most energy demand from the types of vehicle in Indonesia, the most energy demand is in three types, namely motorcycle, trucks, and air transport. Energy demand for motorcycle is 41%, determined by the number of motorcycles that have reached more than 118 million units. And from the energy demand for trucks during the intermediate period, still experience an average growth of around 5%, so that their share of energy demand is large until 2050, which is 43%, the largest for other types of vehicle. Trend is in digital economy, and online transaction activities such as e-commerce are forcing the increase in energy demand. Energy demand in the air transport, the highest growth took the forecast period with an average trend 6%. The condition influenced by the increasing level of society and the graphic growth in the tourism sector and encourage the travel. From the emission side, emission from transportation sector account for 30% of total carbon dioxide emission, and the highest from land transportation. To solve the energy problem for reducing fuel use in transportation sector, from expert and research, the effort for reducing fuel use in the transportation sector are policy in substitution of refined fuel oil with biofuel, natural gas, and electricity. And then shifting the use of private transportation to mass public transportation and promote the use of non-motorized transport. But in this occasion, discuss on non-motorized transport, especially policies and regulation. Why need to promote the use of non-motorized transport? From many studies, there are many advantages using non-motorized transport, including the non-motorized transport provides eco-friendly mode option necessary for the sustainability of pollution-free in the city. The use of non-motorized transport is beneficial for reducing pollution emission and improving public health. And non-motorized transport, and collectively including walking, cycling, and public transport, are more sustainable and environmentally friendly than private transport. The importance of upgrading bus infrastructure with bicycle infrastructure result in a maximum reduction of carbon dioxide emission of 5,500 tons per day. And according to the research by Litma, every 1,000 miles of shift from motorized to non-motorized transport in off-peak condition provides a total benefit of $14,300 from congestion reduction, roadway cost saving, vehicle cost saving, until traffic safety benefits. Issues and challenges in the non-motorized transport. Viewpoint from transportation planning. It is necessary to improve environmental quality, space lane for non-motorized transport, additional facilities such as like topography, temperature, climate change, and infrastructure in additional to local culture and density, connectivity, and mixed land use factors for support non-motorized transport or walking. Besides that, education and community culture needed in the use of non-motorized transport. In the viewpoint, regulation and policies that operate non-motorized transport without official regulation and support Regulation should include mechanism for listening to the voice of vulnerable group. Policymaker, both local, regional, and national, needs to incorporate informal transport into urban area, and the need to put local transport plan based on law with enforcement and regulation unlicensed operators. For the many countries in developing countries, by research in many research, then non-motorized transport policies and infrastructure in small and medium-sized cities are often ignored because politicians perceive walking and non-motorized transport as a sign of underdevelopment, so that they are not equivalent with aspiration. Fact in Indonesia exists today, used in the community for daily activities, tourism, and other activities. Implementation is handed over to the regions according to their needs and characteristics, cause rejection and acceptance of non-motorized transport. For example, in DKI Jakarta in 1992, non-motorized transport at Monas as tourist transportation, but the change of governor in 2007 to 2016, the local government banned its operation, and now its operation are starting to be reactivated. But in other regions in Indonesia, such as in Mataram and Yogyakarta, non-motorized transport has a unique position, especially for in Yogyakarta, non-motorized transport has become a city tourism icon. Based on the viewpoint and some similarities in the treatment on non-motorized transport and condition in Indonesia, it's significant for regulation as a form of protection, acceptance, equality. Regulation in Indonesia. In the picture, if you look at the comparison of regulation in Indonesia on motorized transport and non-motorized transport, motorized transport is purple colored and non-motorized transport like blue. From a view from 4 aspects: safety and traffic discipline, character, enforcement, and planning and traffic management. There are differences in for non-motorized transport that are government laws and regulation do not regulate parking. The implementation is given to the region and according to the needs. There is a specific lane, or use the left side lane if there is no lane for non-motorized transport. Traffic restriction on the route network. And if you in the safety and traffic discipline, government laws and regulation will not regulate registration and identification and workshop. Expert assessment on regulation aspect. In the appropriate assessment of this regulatory aspect passed through a long process with the expert involved. This research used an interview technique with a structured format. The interview expert carried by positive identification include stakeholder in government agencies, the operator community, and academia. From stakeholder, related agencies at the provincial and city levels, such as the Transportation Agency, Regional Planning Agency, Tourism Office, and community operators, even academia, transportation, and urban planning experts from Universitas Gadjah Mada. The research of the combined assessment of various experts used to avoid various stakeholder interests, and the study conducted in Yogyakarta, the province is considered to represent the implementation of non-motorized transport and is good in its management by including non-motorized transport in urban and tourism. Expert judgment on non-motorized transport regulation is that non-motorized transport regulation need equipping with legalization operational, strengthening coordination and synergy between related institutions, legalization of the operational zone, determination of the route, protecting, structuring, and controlling mode operation and pricing. Determination of routes considering accessibility, spatial, infrastructure, and mode. For accessibility, non-motorized transport must integrate pedestrian uses, tourism facilities, and parking. And for spatial, the route is through traditional economic zone and old city building style, and infrastructure, focusing in the providing parking and lanes, and mode focus in safety. Recognition of the existence of non-motorized transport, implementation of policies and regulation in political support to realize and promote the use of non-motorized transport. Operational legality is practical for legal equality, so that differences in acceptance of the existence of modes in various regions result in social, economic, and political problems. It is necessary to clarify the rules nationally, city, and regionally. And in the tourist area, that there is equal treatment of minority transportation in all regions. This regulation is significant for ensuring the right of the underprivileged to create the sense of social justice, providing social protection, and sense of fairness is substantial for the sustainability of the non-motorized transport operation. So that with the various characteristics that exist in non-motorized transport, it can be provide green transportation alternative and maintain the historical aspect of the mode as a form of cultural and community excellence. Strengthening coordination and synergy is needed in improving service, protecting, utilizing, operating, and preserving non-motorized transport. And non-motorized transportation planning requires route planning to group demand and overcome demand uncertainty and minimize friction and unfair competition with the other transport. Accordingly, a need for tariff arrangement, zoning legalization, and clear roads for operators and users. Regulation for non-motorized transport need to accommodate advances in information and technology, also the design of environmentally friendly vehicle, especially regarding the development of online service transportation, modification of electric or solar propulsion to save energy for recycles, and these two things already and are being developed in Yogyakarta province that imitated in the other area. lessons from other developing countries in the non-motorized transport operational. There are in the cities in the China, government convert to motorcycle lanes to be cycle lanes, and America Latin, such as Bogota, Colombia, and Sao Paulo, Brazil, the non-motorized transport ecosystem developed by physical separation of lanes. And in Kenya, to increase in paratransit service, especially for the non-motorized transport, motivate operators to adopt technology and sustainable political support so that it will be the driving force behind future reforms. In the conclusion, the importance of regulatory aspect as a form of protection and legality in the implementation of non-motorized transport at national, regional, and local scales. Regulation non-motorized transport in Indonesia needs to be supported as green transportation solution and safe fuel consumption. Fit up the existing regulation is necessary to regulate operational legalization, zoning, route determination, protection, structuring and controlling mode operation, pricing, and strengthening coordination and synergy between related institutions. As with motorized transport, regulation for motorized transport need to accommodate advances in information and technology as well as environmentally friendly vehicle design and need political support for the implementation to be real. And the last, thank you for listening. May all this we have shared be beneficial for all of us. And if time doesn't allow for discussion, if you have any question, please email to juanitamstr@gmail.com, which listed on the screen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Juanita, Dr. Juanita, for the interesting presentation. Now, for all participants, please, if there is any question, you can write in the chat room, or maybe just grab your microphone, raise your hand, and then ask a question in this question answer session. And then next, Dr. Juanita will answer it, your question. Is there any question? Not quite. I'm gonna check. Okay, maybe while waiting other question, maybe I'm gonna ask to Dr. Juanita. Dr. Juanita, as you know that in Indonesia, actually, there is a very small amount of, district area which implemented bicycle lane. We know in capital city, yes, maybe Governor Anies Baswedan, he was on the TV, but in other area, especially in district area, there is no bicycle lane. My question is, how do you believe that this non-motorized transportation will be implemented in other areas, because the regulation also, we cannot see the regulation about this. Not only parking, yes, of course there is no parking area for non-motorized, because also there is no lane for non-motorized. Maybe you can give your vision.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yes, in Jakarta now for non-motorized transport, it's operation, but in the restriction in such as type of routes, not in the major routes, and operates in the tourist area. And for Indonesia, for the arrangement in the parking area for non-motorized transport, not regulated in the regulation and laws. But I believe with the political support, such as in the Yogyakarta, for parking area for non-motorized transport, any in the Yogyakarta, the governor is supplied in the parking for in the tourist area, in the culture zone, for in the Yogyakarta. That and I think can indicated in the other area for the implementation non-motorized transport, such like in the Yogyakarta city.
Okay, Dr. Juanita, there is one question from Mr. Taufik Tama. What is the government's political will about this NMT? What is the government's political will about this NMT?
Okay. Okay, in my research, I don't research in the political will, but in supporting political in the kepemimpinan, in the leadership, and consistency in consistency for the leaders to implement it, non-motorized transport.
Okay, maybe Dr. Juanita, one question more from Mr. Go. According to your will, Dr. Juanita will, NMTs still be in use for a long time. Maybe will be used for maybe the next several years later. Maybe. While many aviation technologies have been developed, such as electric bicycles, electric cars, electric motorcycle, or magnetic. Where is the place? Wait. Or wait, where is? Okay. Or electric car, electric. Okay. Or magnetic trains. Okay, there is the question. Maybe I'm going to repeat again. According your will, that NMT still be used for a long time. Then, while many efficient technology have been developed, such as bicycle, electric train, and etc. So, what's your opinion about that?
Okay, I believe non-motorized transport still be in use for a long time, because non-motorized transport is have a characteristic, and to develop in the technology in non-motorized transport, especially in Yogyakarta, has done for the regarding in online service transportation, such as Andong online in the region tourist area in Yogyakarta, and modification of electric and solar propulsion to save energy for tricycle in Yogyakarta has been done and being developed in the Yogyakarta. So I believe too long time for use in motorized transport.
Okay, Mr. Goa, there is already the answer from Dr. Jonita. I think if there is no more question, I have checked in the chat room, there is no more question. Maybe there is question, why there is one message? Is it question or not? I think there is no question more, Dr. Jonita. Maybe, yeah, no more question. Okay, Dr. Jonita, thank you very much for your nice presentation.
Thank you.
And also for Prof. Kim also. And ladies and gentlemen, finally we come to the end part of our presentation, especially in the second part of plenary session. So once again, we would like to say thanks again, especially to presenter Dr. Jonita and also Professor Songchol Kim for informative and interesting talk, and to audience, to all participants for active participation. Thank you very much. And hopefully this presentation from Dr. Jonita about the regulation of non-motorized transportation, and also from Professor Kim about the application of polyoxaxine for some application, and the oil-water separation, etc., will be beneficial for everybody, for all participants. Once again, thank you for your attention. And for me, if there is any mistake when I prefer to moderate this session, so I am so sorry. Then finally, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Maybe would you please the host to handle this Zoom meeting?
Finally, we come to the end of the plenary session. Before we close this plenary session, for all audience, you may turn the camera on for photo session. Please, for all audience, you may turn the camera on. Okay, for the first slide, please be ready. 1, 2, 3. For the second slide, 1, 2, 3. For the third slide, 1, 2, 3. For the fourth slide, 1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, let's close this plenary session by saying Hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirrabbilalamin. I am Nabila Salma Kirana, as Master Ceremony asks for leave. I do apologize for my mistakes in presenting this event. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih UMT.
The next agenda is parallel session and will be guided by moderator. Please to the audience, you may rename your Zoom ID according to the guide of this event. I repeat once more. Please to the audience, you may rename your Zoom ID according to the guide of this event. Then you may enter to break room.
Yes.